All right, then. It's Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. And the reason for the meeting today is our regular council meeting. One of the things that we do have on here is probably going to be, we're going to ask to defer it because it should have been a delegation on here, and unfortunately it came in late. So we'll deal with that when we get there. But right now, the cell phones, I'll ask everyone to put them on vibrate and put them away until after the meeting. And the next thing is declaration of pecuniary interest. Remind council of declaration of pecuniary interest if it arises. With that, we have minutes here from special council meeting November 29th, 2019. I don't know if that's, anyways, the regular council meeting January 12th and the special council meeting January 14th. I'll look for a motion to receive those minutes if they're all in order.
Motion to receive, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moved by Councillor Ellis and seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next we move into staff reports for information. I'll go through them individually and just see if there's anything you wish to speak to. But the first one is the department update from Peter Lawson. Was there anything there that anyone wished to speak about? Seeing, okay, go ahead, Larry.
Just trying to get to my notes here, Councilor. It was regarding the part of the report where Peter identified equipment repair, and there was nothing listed for the new piece of equipment that we decided to purchase last council meeting regarding the sander, but there was nothing in the maintenance and repair regarding the sander. I was just curious if the issue about repair for that piece of equipment was very minor or just missed on the report. So I'll ask Peter, please.
Okay, Peter, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, to answer Councillor Ellis's question. We were, when we submitted the reports, we were not for sure if we were going to replace the hopper or get it in for repairs or maintenance. So I think now it's in the budget for replacement of the rear hopper.
Okay, just it didn't identify any repairs to that piece of equipment, so I was curious whether it was that minor or.
It's basically it's all the sprockets, so the shafts in the back of it, the bearings, the hopper itself, with being salt in it, it could probably use a few supporting patches to get it by for the few next year. But that was the intent of the repair. It was just it had the sprockets and changed, and it was the biggest thing on the arms. We've replaced pretty much all of it already once. So, but now that seeing the hopper is starting to fail a little bit as well. So instead of replacing all those parts and the hopper fail again, was the reason we did bring it to a budget meeting.
Thank you, Peter.
So, and that's like Peter said, it's in the budget right now. If there's, I know I was talking to him yesterday about it, about other options still, but right now it's still in the budget to replace it. So anyways, is there anything else with regards to that? If not, we'll move to the next item here was winter operations plan that Peter's put together here. Okay, is there anything with regards to that? If not, we'll move on to the next item here is Ryan Andrew. Ryan, you can come back on there. Sorry about that, but so yeah, so your departmental update. Is there anything there that anyone wishes to speak to, or anything you want to add to that, Ryan?
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch on a couple of points in that update there. Right at the top there, you'll see that we listed that we did supply a submission for a grant for the enhancements at the Matheson property. The value of that is $100,000. So we're hopeful that we'll be successful in that area. That would be great, and that would really help enhance that park. The other thing that I kind of want to just briefly touch on was we took down the Christmas banners this year, and it was about a week earlier than normal. And I just wanted to explain to council the reason we did that was we had a lot of lights that were kind of flickering, and instead of having an electrician come in and repair them this week or that week and then have them come down the next week, we just kind of thought, well, it's just a week, we'll just go ahead and have them taken down because it's really only a week early. But I did hear some suggestions on potentially we could extend the time frame that we leave them out for. So I just didn't know if council wanted to have a brief discussion with that. I mean, from an operational standpoint, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. So I just kind of wanted to open that up to council to see what their thoughts were on that, if they'd like to see us leave them up longer or not. So the other thing was just that as you know, the arena's been closed as a provincial-wide lockdown, and we're hoping to reopen at some point. The most recent date I heard was February 11th, but however, that could change. So we're still waiting for information on that. But other than that, that's all I really wanted to just kind of touch base with council, unless they had any questions for me.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Webb had a question there or comment?
Just to Ryan's point, I've heard similar comments about the winter decorations in terms of how early we took them down. And I just proposed to council that possibly we change that policy to probably carry that out to say the end of February. I know this year is different. We're in COVID. What I'm thinking though is in past years, we usually have a winter festival, family day weekend, things like that. We still have people coming to the area, plenty of snowmobilers and whatnot. So to me, keeping the town looking nice through the winter months, especially going through what we're going through now, I think gives a little boost in morale to the locals and whatnot. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay, and
sorry. And
go
just
ahead.
one other quick question, Ryan. Do we know when that grant for the Masson property has it closed, or do we know when we'll hear about that? Or
it's the deadline has been passed and we submitted it on time. In terms of when we're going to get an answer back, I'm not sure. I think Gwendolyn's on the call if she has anything that she wants to add, but as of right now, it was confirmed that they had received our grant and they were going to let us know if they had any questions or anything that we needed to clarify within that grant to move it forward. So I haven't heard any concerns at this point.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, they seem to be really dragging out. Even the one we applied for a year ago, December, I think it was. They asked for a few more updates, or they asked Ryan to update a couple things on the application about a month ago or 3 weeks ago. And talking to Dave Smith, that was one of the things that they were waiting for, and he did it right away. So there's nothing in the way right now. We're still waiting to hear for that one too. So you never know when these are going to be announced. It seems to be there's a lot of them getting announced the past few weeks. So hopefully that one will be lumped in with them. So as far as the Christmas decorations, good point there, Councillor Webb. As far as with what we have for decorations, they can be left up longer. It's not like the real Christmas theme. They're snowflakes. So good idea as far as maybe for next year we could change that policy and maybe get them left up till the end of February. I'm sure the people putting them up would like to wait till the end of February when it's a little warmer rather than the ones that take them down. So Deputy Mayor Dro, you had a question or comment?
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Ryan, with COVID, we never know from day to day, as you just suggested. Have you got some kind of a time period in your mind that if we don't open, that it's time to pull the plug on the ice?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Deputy Mayor Giroux's comments. I think if they decide to extend it past February 11th, would be the time to have a discussion with council on whether we remove the ice. It's not really costing a whole lot to operate it, to be honest with you, right now. We have the temperatures turned up as high as they could possibly go, reducing the amount of energy consumption. with no lights being on, no hot water, no flooding happening. The plant is really only running 1 to 2 hours a day, like the last couple of weeks when it's been so cold. Like, so it's not a huge operating expense, but I think if we're planning on pulling the ice out, we usually do it right after the March break. If we're planning on doing it then, if we're only looking at about 3 weeks left, then I would probably say to council, maybe we should look at removing it. So, and at that time, at this time too, like they may allow us to reopen it, but I'm not really sure like if there's going to be new protocols for reopening, like what that might look like. I know some other municipalities and townships have already removed their ice. I'm hearing that that's happening more like southeast of the province, where the numbers are a lot higher. So they're basically anticipating that this is probably a smart thing for them to do. So since we're not going to be looking at the expense of pulling it out and then putting it back in, I don't know. I think we should wait until the next meeting and see, because I was being told February 11th. I think we should wait and maybe have that discussion at the next meeting. Like I said, it's really not costing a whole lot to operate right now with the building being closed. So
Thank you
like
for
1 to
your
2
thoughts,
hours, 1 to 2 hours a day. It's probably one of the smallest refrigeration packages I've ever seen. Like it's only a 50 horsepower plant. It's been really cold. Like a lot of things have been in favor for it. So I wouldn't be too concerned on wasting any money at this point. I think if we pulled it out before February 11th, I think that might be a premature decision. That's
Thank you
just
very-
that's just my personal thoughts.
Thank you for those, Ryan. And we know it's been cold. We've had a few water leaks, so thanks, Ryan.
Okay, Councillor Ellis, go ahead.
Just some of my comments were already answered through Ryan. Thank Councillor Webb for bringing up the Madison property grant. It was one of the questions I was going to ask. So that's going to be exciting to hear whether we win the draw there on that one. Yeah, my other question was around the ice, and you've already answered it, Ryan. I was going to ask when you normally would take ice out, and you've answered that. So I think we're being smart. Wait till the 11th of February and make our decision then. But thanks for the report. Thanks.
Just wanted to add, Jim,
Yeah,
just
go
further to that, like if we did wait until and then we were able to open, and we still plan to shut down as scheduled, like it would, to me, I think it would be good, because it meant that we left the ice in for a reason, like we actually would get another few weeks out of it instead of having waited from the end of December all the way through January and half of February to just take it out. And just if we do get another 3 or 4 weeks out of it and we've waited this long, I think that would be a good decision. So I think we'll just wait and see, eh?
Yeah, and you never know what's going to happen. Like last year, we ended up, it was a mild beginning, and we ended up, it was cold right through to May. So you might even get, the month of March in there without even the plant running too much. So let's just keep an eye on it, see what we can do. It's there, like you say, it's not costing us anything. Hopefully we do get another little run at it for the people to be able to use it. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and see what happens. So is there anything else with Ryan's report for information? Okay. The next we have is the report from Bob with regards to our closed session. And it's just something to update everyone on our closed session meetings. Go ahead, Bob.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. If council is so inclined, we would take a recommendation and a resolution regarding the removal of the decorations and let them remain until February.
Okay. How about, okay, it's moved by Councillor Webb that we update that, and seconded by, do I have a seconder for that? Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor of that? And that's carried. So, okay, thank you, Bob. So if there's nothing here, I'd take a report to receive all the reports for information only. Moved by Councillor Ellis and seconded by Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. So with that, we'll move into staff reports for follow-up action. And Peter, you're on there for tender on Concession Street sanitary sewer.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, the purpose of this report is to seek council's approval for the tender for the upgrade of the sanitary sewer.
Okay, that's long awaited. So what's council's thoughts on that? Art, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question for Pete. The tender amount for the QBT is quite a bit lower than the other two. I'm just wondering, is everything we're asking for going to be fulfilled in this? Like, I'm worried about the differentiation in the numbers here in terms of how one is so much lower than the other two.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, to answer Councillor Webb's question. I went through John Sales through Engage Engineering, and he followed up and made sure he went through the checklist to say with the QBT excavation company, and they did meet all the criteria. And so, yeah, he was recommending them, and that's what I'm basing it on as well. But he did follow up after the tenders were submitted and opened and made sure that everything was in order. So, yeah.
So Engage is familiar with this company?
Yes, John Sales has worked with them. I think he said 3 or 4 times, if I'm correct on that. Yes.
Has
And
HBM worked with this company?
No, I don't believe HBM has. I know they were up in the Peterborough housing. They did most of the work up there in the Peterborough housing unit for on Spook Drive.
Okay. Yep. Thank you, Peter.
Yep.
Hey, Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, Peter explained it there at the tail end for Councillor Webb. The QBT, we're at the project across the road here for Peterborough housing, and they have all the equipment. They're not just a small outfit, so I think for to enlighten you, they have, we have had them do work, not personally, but Peterborough Housing has.
Okay, so I'll look for a motion.
Thank you, Councillor Pomeroy.
Pardon? Oh, okay, so we need a motion to approve the recommendation, moved by Councillor Pomeroy and seconded by Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. So the next item on the list is Alexander Street design, and I think this is one of those things to try and get a shovel-ready project in case something pops up. So Peter, go ahead, or I see Jason. Okay.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, to council. Yes, the report is to provide details of the construction for the Alexander reconstruction design. And as we are all aware of, the one intersection that required the storm to be upgraded there with the so-called piece of plywood, as we'll say. So talking with Engage, we have Jason Armstrong with us today to answer any questions. But as we were going through the design construction, we only had submitted the design from Ann to Union, and staff recommends that we redesign the whole street and wait for some as shovel ready as we can be with the design being in place, and hopefully be approved for some grants in the near future.
Okay. Any questions there from council with regards to this? Pretty straightforward. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, this is the situation we got on King Street. We got into years ago, and it paid off. We had to wait a while, but we were shovel ready, and I think personally that's the way to go on this section.
Okay, so we do have a recommendation there. So we have a thing here. If council is in, we can receive this for future use, I guess. Or I was typing a letter here. Okay, so the recommendation is that council approve the design for reconstruction on Alexander Street. What's your thoughts? Councillor Pomeroy and then Councillor Ellis. Councillor Ellis, is that a mover and a seconder then? No comments?
Just a comment through you, Mr. Mayor, to Peter Lawson, just good forward planning. So again, I'll either second or move the recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, moved by Councillor Ellis and Councillor Pomeroy. Were you seconding that?
Yes, I was, but I'm not entirely pleased with the look of the road here. I think we should look at it rather than get into a jackpot with the curb being paved, you know, and make sure that it's right this time, not have something like we did on King Street.
Okay,
Because the driving lanes are very small. They're only what, 3 meters like each. So, and I think that's a problem we have with some of the streets in town now that they've redone. They've narrowed them in. So now's our chance to keep that street wide, because it is wide right now, Alexander. And anyway, that's
Okay.
something else to look at in the future here.
okay, so I'm not sure, Bob had a question there. Go ahead, Clerk Angioni.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. I wonder if we can invite Jason to comment on the information that's being presented to council, and perhaps he could provide his perspective.
Okay. Jason, can you enlighten us on this design?
Yeah, for sure. I assume you guys all have the proposed cross-section for Alexander Streets, as well as the base plan, which basically highlights existing conditions of Alexander Street. So the cross-section is typical of what's been constructed on Donald Street, Matheson Street, McLean, and King Street. So the lanes they're 3-meter lanes. There's sidewalk on the north side and a proposed asphalt parking boulevard on the south side. So there would be, you know, if council did want to widen the road, we could certainly entertain, you know, looking at that cross section again. We just have to make sure that it would fit within the right of way and within those existing conditions. I know there are hydro poles out there that we would have to make sure everything fits, just to maintain your parking and your sidewalks throughout.
Okay, Peter, you had something?
Yeah, yes, through you, Mayor Martin, to go along with Jason's comments there. Jason, the right of way that you speak of in Havelock, I believe when we discussed this, it was 15 meters was the right of way, and most municipalities are 20 meters in width.
Yes, that's correct, Peter. It's 15-meter right of way, so there isn't as much space in these right of ways as some other municipalities where you have 20 meters. You know, that's an extra 15 feet that you're losing. So, you know, that is why in most of these previous roads, there's sidewalk on one side and the lanes are slightly narrower. The other benefit to a narrower lane is it also keeps traffic moving slower and, you know, promotes traffic calming through the neighborhoods. So.
Okay, yeah, and I think, you know, as Councillor Pomeroy said, if we receive this for today, there is still opportunity to look at some of these other questions, because the big thing is the boulevard. We're kind of leery on those, and this one looks like by the cross section that there is a slope to the road. It's not sloping back, so that's a good thing, and it might work that way. But I just think we just want to make sure that it's going the right way, and it looks like you've got that on your cross section. So, and the reason why these boulevards seem to be happening is the gas is underneath the boulevard instead of underneath the road. So it's a little easier to fix later if they do cut into them. So, so there's some good questions here. And I think for today, if we just receive this, some of those are good questions that we can follow up with you and make sure that you know, it's 100% ready if such a thing, a grant came forward or something like that. So,
Yeah.
Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the big thing. If we're shovel ready and you're more apt to get the grant, we've been told that. So it's, we are shovel ready when you got this. We might want to have a look at it, but we are shovel ready.
So it was moved and seconded, so I'll look for all in favor to receive this for today. And that's carried. Thank you. Next, we have the planning report. Laura, welcome, Laura.
Thank you. Good morning, Council. So with you, you have a report for a consent application to grant a right-of-way on a waterfront property that's water access only. This will provide access to a property that is currently landlocked. And this is on Cordova Lake. So I have put down 4 recommendations for my conditions, and the recommendation overall is that council endorse this application for consent for the right-of-way.
Okay, and I did talk to Laura about this yesterday, and it's one of those things with the road allowance part of it. You know, I had some concerns with the road allowance stopping up and closing at this time, but there's 2 parts to it, Laura, is that right?
That's right. So this application is specifically to create the right-of-way. As a condition, as recommended by DM Wills, I put in that part of the unopened municipal road allowance would need to be purchased to be stopped up and closed. It would not impede access to any other properties to be able to do this. And further, it doesn't lead to water. Council in the past had already sold off a portion of the unopened municipal road allowance, which created the backlot issue in the first place. So this would clean up the application and provide guaranteed access.
Okay, so what's council's thoughts here? It's possible to do it in 2 parts, or we can do it all together as the report says.
Yeah.
So, okay, Deputy Mayor Terrell, go ahead.
Thank you, Laura, for your report. When you say it guarantees access to whom does it guarantee access?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, it guarantees access to the landlocked property to the south. So that is the intention of the right-of-way, is to create waterfront access so that the landlocked parcel is able to essentially put a dock on the property and be able to travel that right-of-way over the unopened municipal road allowance to their landlocked property.
So we are not selling the whole road allowance.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, Bob, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, and just to further clarify, last year, the township sold that landlocked piece of property to Heather McMaster, and this is somewhat part B to that transaction. So that landlocked piece of property was sold last year, and now Mr. English is attempting to navigate access for the purchaser of that landlocked property.
Via water.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, so what's council's thoughts here? There's a recommendation here. Is there anybody who wants to speak to it? Councillor Ellis, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion that we approve the recommendations from Laura. It's kind of cleans up a little situation there, and I'm sure the property owners are very pleased. So I would make approve the recommendation from our planner, Laura.
Okay, moved by Councillor Ellis that we approve the recommendation as presented. Do I have a seconder for that? Okay. Councillor Webb, are you seconding that? Okay. All right then, all in favor of the motion? Okay, well, everybody's hesitant. We've been burned before. So anyways, okay, carried, all in favor, carried. So,
Thank you.
okay. The next report, Laura, is this is the one that I said we might be better to defer because of the late delegation that came in. What's your thoughts on that?
So yes, Mr. Martin, keep it short and sweet. I would like to defer this report until the February 16th meeting. And at that time, FO10 will make a delegation to council and they'll do a presentation for you.
Okay, it was just a little housekeeping thing that FO10 did want to speak to it or was going to present this to us, and it wasn't showing on the on our agenda. So so if we could defer this until the next meeting and have FO10 come to the meeting and present it, that would be helpful. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Giroux.
Motion to defer.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux that we defer it, and seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Any questions or comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
So next we have the Municipal Modernization Program. Bob, if you would like to speak to that.
There we go. Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Last week, further to the Rural Ontario Municipal Association Conference, a grant opportunity was presented by the province of Ontario, and that being the Municipal Modernization Program. So we're requesting a resolution from council to enable us to apply for this grant. And this will be the service review grant, and hopefully will check off a large box for us. We are attempting to create efficiencies in our township, and it will coordinate well with the work that we've already commenced with the County of Peterborough in their coordination of service committee. So we're asking for a resolution from council to apply for this grant.
Yeah, so Councillor Pomeroy, go ahead. Won't go off. Technology, eh, Barry? Did you want to speak to it or you want to move it? Okay, there you go.
There we go. No, I would like to move the recommendation.
All right, moved by Councillor Pomeroy that we go with this recommendation. Do I have a seconder?
Second the motion.
Seconded by Councillor Ellis, and this is a good thing. Like Bob said, Deputy Mayor Giroux and myself are working on this with the county for service delivery, and even at Roma last week, Duro was referred to in the Roma conference about how much they're going to save by doing this over the next 10 years. They're looking at saving $5 million, which is a lot of money. So good things come out of these if we could get something like this to help us do it. So it is an expensive venture, but this grant would really help us. So we have a mover and a seconder. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Bob. And so next we have the community safety and well-being plan that there again, the county's been talking, as groups of CAOs, I think, have been talking about this and looking for an extension. Go ahead, Bob.
Yes, that's correct. Through you, Mayor Martin, the province of Ontario has mandated that municipalities establish a community safety and well-being plan. The work on the plan had commenced shortly before the pause for COVID. The province of Ontario has now indicated a new deadline for submission of the plan being July 1st of this year. So all the townships are working together with the County of Peterborough, as well as the Ontario Provincial Police, the City of Peterborough, and social service agencies. And collectively, we're all asking for an extension to that deadline. There's quite a bit of work that needs to be done to present this plan. So we're asking the province to consult with municipalities and establish a new deadline.
Okay, so you're looking for us to support the recommendation to get an extension?
That's correct.
So is there a mover to that, or any mover or seconder? Moved by Councillor Webb, seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next, we have assume certain lands within the township. This is a housekeeping issue that I think it's from 2013, if I'm not mistaken. So, so I don't know who wants to present this one here. So Bob, do you want to do it?
There we go. There, I think I'm unmuted. There we are. Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. So yes, this matter dates back to originally back to 2012, as per the attached staff report. There were severances for these properties, and there was a road widening involved. The road widening, the little sliver, as you can see on the attached documents, the road widening was never brought into the road system for the township, and unfortunately has landlocked these properties. And one of them is now for sale, which is part 3, and which has brought this issue to light. We need to assume that little sliver of the road widening into our road system, and then everyone can go happily along their merry way and conduct their business.
Okay, so any questions from council? Deputy Mayor Giroux?
Just to clarify, thank you, Bob, for your report. Just to clarify, I was under the assumption that the road widening was done, but it just wasn't put on the books.
Well, that's essentially correct. Through you, Mayor Martin. The road widening was done, but it was not properly registered. So this completes that process.
Thank you, Bob.
Well,
I move the recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
All right, moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux that we assume the road, and seconded by Councillor Ellis. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. So the next item we have on here is regards to the private road grant program. And during our budget discussion last week, it was mentioned that we need to have a policy in place. And I think that's what Bob has brought forward here, is some couple of different policies that are around the province. And I know we had some emailed to us too from some of the road associations, or one of the road associations. So Bob, do you want to speak to this?
yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Just to confirm, yes, in our last budget meeting, council directed staff to investigate the possibility of a road grant program and bring back some examples. So we have brought examples forward from other municipalities, and we are requesting that if council wishes to pass a resolution to establish a road grant program, council or staff will then proceed to bring details back to a future council meeting of a made in HBM road grant program.
I like that, Bob, about the made in HBM, because I think that's the key thing there, is we can make the policy to suit our township. And most of those policies that are in place they have their own little tie to whether it's the OMPF grant or whatever, but there is ways of doing this that it won't affect the budget directly. So what's council's thoughts here? Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to see something concrete before I make any motions on this, because I'm not, personally, I'm not in favor of these kind of grants. And if you're going to do it, it should be done right. And the samples that we have here, I don't think apply to our township. So anyway, before we go ahead and make any harsh decisions, don't make a decision and then come back and staff come back and say, well, you made a decision. Well, I want to be part of the decision. I don't want staff to make a decision on my behalf or council's behalf.
Okay. Yeah, the one there from Marmor Lake, I brought that forward at last year's budget and it didn't make it through, but I think there's some really good options here, and it's something that I really think needs to happen. It's happening all over the province, and it's just a little thing that we could do to help some of these private roads with the challenges that they have. So anyways, that's just my opinion. I've said it before, and I think Barry counted me 6 times last budget to talk about this thing, and this is about the third time it's came forward. So there is an opportunity here, like Bob said, that as long as it's still in the budget, we can try and get our policy in place before the budget is passed. If council feels it's worth it, I guess that's the other option here is for staff to work towards a policy before we finish the budget. If council's happy with leaving it in the budget for now, that's the other option. Deputy Mayor Giroux, go ahead, and then Councillor Pomeroy.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Bob and staff for bringing this forward. Obviously, they've done quite a bit of work. That's what council asked them to do. However, if this goes forward, we can't say that it won't affect the budget because OMP funding is never guaranteed. So I just take a step back, if I might. It was in 1855. That's a long time ago. The Belmont-Methuen became a corporate township of Peterborough County. That's a long time ago. And to my knowledge, according to the report that I received from staff, there isn't a township in Peterborough County that has any policy like this. Our mandate for fire roads have always been to provide a safe roadway to their fire roads, to provide EMS, fire, police, emergency services, or any other provincial mandate set down by the government. To go off track of that, I find myself in a negative position here and I can't support this. That's my thoughts.
All right, so if you want to, somebody can make a motion one way or the other here, or like, you know, we've kicked it around for long enough maybe, and if council's not in favor of that, that's what your job is. If you want to just put this to rest right now, you can. So if that's a motion that you're making, Dave, we can take that as a motion that we pull this from the budget. Staff has done a lot of work, and like I've said other years, this is something that happens all around us, and there's no reason why we can't do it ourselves. But if council is not in favor, that's all you got to do is make a motion here to, I can't make the motion to go ahead with it. So it's up to council here to either tell staff to put it to rest and we won't deal with it. So
well, to have my rebuttal with that comment, yes, staff has done a lot of work and staff will do a lot of work in the future over it. With the recommendations that we have in the emails we have, it's the cottage associations that want to dictate who gets whatever grants. If there's more than 3, they can have it. If there's less than 3, they can't. This is going to be a nightmare for staff, and it's going. So I'm in a negative position and I can't support.
okay, all right. So I've seen Councillor Ellis and then Councillor Webb.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, just a reminder comment that I guess I can't even comment on this due to the fact that I have a conflict of interest. So I just wanted to bring that to light again at this meeting. I'm going to leave it at that. Sorry.
Okay.
The only other thing I would like to remind council when we're talking about, we did have conversations in the past where, regardless of whether this bylaw or policy goes in place or not, that we could offer to these lake associations that have registered representation, the ability to purchase items through the municipality, as in culverts or materials. So I'd like to add that in there. I know I'm not supposed to comment, but I'm going to add that in anyway. Thank you.
As a comment.
And just to clarify, these are road associations, not the lake associations that are asking about this. So Bob, I think I'll take the staff perspective here and then Hart.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. I just wanted to assist Councillor Ellis. If Councillor Ellis wishes to declare a conflict, we can remove him from the meeting temporarily.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Bob. CAO Bob. I would prefer to be removed, so I've no conflict there. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so make note that Councillor Ellis has been removed from the meeting so we can discuss this. Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate the other members' hesitation in terms of moving this forward. I thought about some of these same issues myself. Problem I have is this issue keeps coming up and how we're going to move it forward in terms of our township. I think now is a time for us to look at this and possibly, like I said, this would be more of, to me, more of a pilot project. I don't believe I'm signing on for anything in perpetuity here. I believe council has, this council or the next council has the right to change their policy if this doesn't turn out the way we like. But the one thing I caution, I don't like comments in terms of nobody else in Peterborough County is doing this. I'd like HBM to be leaders, not followers. I find too often in this community, we look to these other communities and try to copy what they're doing instead of doing what we should be doing for our community. So in terms of that argument, I don't buy into it in terms of really any issue. Like I said, we're our own community. We have our own problems, our own unique problems, and we should be dealing with them the way we want to deal with them.
Okay, thank you. I agree with you, Hart. So, but anyway, so I'm going to look for a motion here of, as far as the budget process. You can try and move that, Councillor Webb, or Deputy Mayor Joe, did you move that we pull this from the, I'll deal with that one first. Did you move that?
Okay.
We moved it?
Sorry. Yeah, I'll just move that we, as you said, move it towards council, staff work on it as we work through the budget process and
Okay.
develop a policy.
Councillor Webb, I just got to clarify with Clerk Angione. Did Dave move that, no? Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so Councillor Webb is making a motion that we leave it in there for now in the budget. Is that what you're saying, Hart?
Yep.
Okay. I'll see if there's a seconder for that. So I'm not seeing a seconder here, Hart. Thank you. So I'll look for a motion to remove it from the budget. We got to go one way or the other here. We can't dance around it. So if somebody wants to make a motion that we remove this from the budget, that'll save staff doing any more work on it. So Councillor Pomeroy, go ahead. You're moving that?
I'll make a motion that we remove it from the budget.
All right. So I'll look for a seconder.
I second the motion.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor of that motion? So how do you do that then, Bob? It's
Through you, Mayor Martin, we have 2 in favor, 2 others in the room. Not to prejudge how the others will vote, but we have 2 nays. If we get 2 yays, it's a hung vote and defeats the motion.
all right. But we didn't have a seconder for the others, so. Can I second it, Bob?
Not now.
No,
No.
through you, Mayor Martin. Sorry, I
No,
perhaps I misspoke on that. If it's a tie vote, yes, the vote is defeated.
So it's defeated.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So it's defeated that we pull this from, or it's carried that we pull this from the budget this year. Okay. All right then, thank you for that.
Just a question for Claire.
Yep.
Did you vote for that?
What's that?
Did you vote for the second motion?
The second motion hasn't been made yet, but I
No.
vote for it? Like it's done now, isn't it, Bob? Because
If I may suggest, Mayor Martin, just to clarify, if you would call the vote again, and we'll get everybody's vote just to clarify.
okay, so the
So the
All right,
motion is, the motion on the floor, moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux, is that this item be removed from the budget for 2021.
that's right, and so
So we have in favor of the motion, Councillor Pomeroy, Deputy Mayor
And-
Giroux.
Yes.
Councillor Webb, are you in favor of the motion?
No.
No. Mayor Martin, are you in favor of the motion?
no.
No. So it's a tie vote, defeats the motion.
Okay, so can we put another motion on the floor now then, Bob, or is that
Yes, you may put another motion on the floor.
Thank you. So Councillor Webb made a motion there earlier, and it was already, the problem is I can't vote for it. How does that happen? It has to be recorded?
Through you, Mayor Martin, yes, you are permitted to vote on all motions.
All right then. So, but if it doesn't have a seconder is where I'm going with this. Can I second?
The motion earlier on the floor moved by Councillor Webb to leave this item in the budget did not receive a seconder. Therefore, that motion cannot go forward.
Okay. So we're done there. There's no other motions here.
It's a stalemate.
Yeah.
It's a stalemate. This item does not move forward.
Okay. So it's not moving forward either way. All right. All right. There's always a first. This year I'm getting a first of everything. So anyways, okay. So we'll just leave that at that. It's stalemate, and we'll move on. We'll invite Councillor Ellis back into the meeting then. Okay. All right, welcome back, Councillor Ellis. So with that, we'll move on to correspondence. And we have a request here from the Havelock Lions Club with regards to some of the fees that they have in place, and they're looking for help. What's council's thoughts? Go ahead, Councillor Webb.
Yeah, just a motion to approve the recommendation. They're looking for, I think, the waiver of 2 installments. So to help them get back on their feet. So I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved by Councillor Webb that we help them out. Do I have a seconder for that? Okay. Councillor Ellis, go ahead.
I have a question through you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
The request from the Lions, would there not be some COVID funding to support?
So that's what I think this motion could include, that we look, because what I was going to say is we have a lot of these organizations, whether it's the Seniors Club, it's the Legion, they're all having troubles. They haven't been able to do any fundraising, and that's how they pay the bills. The Cordova Rec Association is struggling. We need to look at all the things out there that if there is a way of helping them, because once they're gone for good. And I just, you know, some of these things that are listed on this one are probably similar with the Legion and other groups, water bills and things like that. We need to look and see if there's any help we can find to get over this hump, is my personal thing. So Councillor Ellis, go ahead.
Well, my question to Wendland is there COVID funding to support?
Yes, so I'm just waiting to hear back from Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing to what the parameters are, because the province hasn't given us specific parameters like they did last year. So I'm going to say that probably some of the COVID funding could be used towards that, but I don't have a definite answer from the province yet.
Okay. Bob, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Previously, there were grant opportunities provided to service clubs. We would have to review the specifics of those grant opportunities, but I know that the provincial government did announce some grant opportunities to assist local community groups.
So I don't want to, so Hart, you have a motion to go with this to help with the Lions. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on working with staff to see if there's any help for all of these organizations, lump them all together as far as if there's any COVID money or things like that, and maybe bring this back. If there's a way of helping other groups too, like lump them all together. I don't know what your thoughts are there on the motion, but would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay. Like, there's plenty of people in our community that need help right now. In terms of moving this forward for the Lions Club, I think maybe we should just check with them in terms of, you know, if the hold off is okay for them. But yeah, it's definitely a good idea. Like I said, you mentioned the Legion and some other things. We've mentioned other small businesses that have been affected by this. So maybe we could have, yeah, look at the whole thing. And if when we could get some numbers in terms of what we have left in terms of the first round of funding, COVID funding. And then I know you don't know and you don't have a crystal ball, but I know you talked about a second wave of funding. So possibly what we might be looking at in terms of numbers for that second wave, if you could make an estimate. So
Yeah, there'll be a report at the next council meeting with an update of the COVID funding, because there were some more entries going in for year end. Just I think with the Lions Club, they're requesting this because we own the building and they're leasing the building from us. So I'm not sure how it would work for other organizations. I think that might have to be separate.
thank you.
All right, Councillor Ellis, go ahead. And then Councillor Pomeroy.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to CAO Bob. Could you give me or give council just a little more information on your last comment that there was funding available? So if there is something there, rather than hold off on supporting the Lions, if there is funding there, could we change our motion and put in place some of the COVID funding to support Lions? I guess is what I'm saying, but I'm not sure exactly what Bob had meant on his comments there.
Okay, Bob, maybe you can answer that and then go to
Yes.
Councillor Pomeroy.
Through you, Mayor Martin, to respond to the question from Councillor Ellis. It is my understanding that the provincial government did announce some grant funding for service groups and nonprofit groups in communities. I would suggest that staff will investigate the details of those grant opportunities and report back. I do believe there will be funds available. I know our treasurer assisted, I believe it was the Seniors Club earlier, to apply for a grant. Don't know the result of that yet, but I know we have assisted some groups. So perhaps those opportunities may still be available.
So again, through you, Mr. Mayor, if we change our motion to include investigating and receiving funding to support the Lions, then we could go ahead and waive the costs that they're requesting with support of COVID funding. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like, so if it's easier to keep it separate, like Hart did at the beginning, and then if that's what if you think that's easier, Bob, we can go that route. I do know there's something different with the Lions after talking to them about the not-for-profit, because they're incorporated. There's a difference there that they may not qualify for the not-for-profit funding because they're incorporated. So that's the things we need to find out to make sure that they do qualify for some of this funding. As Wendelin said, it is our building, and you know, maybe there's things we can do within the building agreement to help them and keep it separate from the other groups. But Hart, go ahead.
Yeah, just to clean it up, then I'll make the first motion that we support the Lions Club with existing COVID money, if it is still there.
Okay, and Barry, you had some, I skipped over Barry though. Do you want to add to that, Barry, or do you have your comments there?
No, we can wait and have a seconder on that if you want, and then I'll just have a comment afterwards.
Okay.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Ellis, and all in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think we got to do some cleanup after we get going again, because the rental agreement for the Lions Club was August 1996, and I think we should clean up the rental agreement for the arena and any other little things that we have with the Lions to make sure that we know who's doing what and think things have changed since '96. Let's put it that way. So I think we got to clean that up.
Yeah, so it comes due in September, so there's some things there that we are gonna have to look at, like even in discussion with them, like they pay $1,000 every year just to have that elevator inspected or up around there, and it's something that they've been doing forever. So there's a lot of these little costs that they pay for that we might not be aware of. So we're gonna have to get it all on the table, like Councillor Pomeroy said.
Yep.
So go ahead, Hart.
I was just gonna make the second part of that motion.
Okay.
Direct staff to I don't contact or gain information on the service clubs in our area in terms of the impact that COVID's had on them, and I guess bring us back a report in terms of ways we can help them through the crisis.
All right. So moved by Councillor Webb that we look at the other groups as well and see if there's any help for them. Is there a seconder to that? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. Questions or comments with regards to that? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, thank you. Next on the correspondence was something that we did talk about at the police services meeting yesterday, and that was automatic speed enforcement. Bob, did you want to speak to that?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. We have received correspondence regarding automatic speed enforcement, also known as photo radar. Some townships are attempting to implement this to assist with combating speed-related issues within their municipalities. And there is a resolution there asking for support.
Okay, so it did sound like to the police it would be favorable. It would allow them some extra time for other things, I guess. So it might be something worth looking at for the future by supporting this. And I think we have something on our county meeting tomorrow with regards to this. I know we do the next item, but anyways, so what's council's thoughts? Barry, did you have your hand up? Go ahead, Councilor Pomeroy.
Yeah, excuse me. I'll make a motion. We support them.
Okay, moved by Councillor Pomeroy that we support Southwest Oxford, seconded by Councillor Webb. All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Okay, and the last thing we had for action correspondence was regards to insurance rates. And I know we've had this issue when it came to our insurance this year, and I think it's all over the province. And this is on the county one tomorrow. I think somebody's asking for support. I don't think it's the same Grey Highlands, but it's obvious that this is an issue throughout the province. So what's council's thoughts on this? Deputy Mayor Giroux, go ahead.
Motion to support.
Okay, motion to support this action item. Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. The rest of the correspondence is for information, but there was a couple of things in there that might be worth talking about, and that was this erosion hazard with the CVCA. At my meeting last week or 2 weeks ago, the Crow did a presentation, and it's something that was a really good presentation, and I think in the future it wouldn't hurt over the winter if we could get somebody from the Crow. Rob was the one that did this presentation. If there was an opportunity to get him in to be a delegation and explain this to council, it would help a lot with regards to minor variances and things. I know over the years we've all had questions when you see a minor variance denied because it's 100 feet up the hill and it's never going to flood. Well, there's a lot more to that, and that's with the slope stability and all that stuff that comes into it. So it was a really good presentation, and I think it would be really helpful for council to see if they would come and do the presentation for us. So I don't know what your thoughts are. Councillor Pomeroy, go ahead.
Yeah, I would kind of like John Smallwood's view on the Crow Valley with holding us up with building permits.
This isn't to do with that, Barry. This is.
I know it is, but so I would like to see maybe next meeting that John explain all this to us because, you know, it seems funny, we were all fighting, going to court, spend a lot of money, and then all of a sudden, you know, a couple years later, everything's roses and but anyway, I would like on the next meeting for John to explain the way they're trying to download onto our municipality.
Okay, well,
Under
So
new
you-
business.
yeah, put that in new business or in oral notice of motion if you like, Barry.
Yeah.
And we can get it for the next agenda.
I'll
think that-
make notice of motion if we do that.
Okay, when we get to there, I'll bring that up. So Deputy Mayor Dro, go ahead.
Without prolonging this, I really enjoyed Crow Valley's presentation here, and I would make a motion that we invite Crow Valley to give us this presentation. I think it's going to be very helpful for all the council members when it comes to minor variances and such.
So,
A lot of additions and so on. Thank you.
all right, thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Dro that we invite Crow Valley in to do this presentation. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Ellis seconded that. All in favor? And that's carried. So, and the other thing on there was with regards to the incinerator. At our last county council meeting, we had a delegation come in and there was nothing, Dave and I knew nothing about it. None of council knew anything about this incinerator idea. And that's all it was an idea. And they came to do the presentation and I've since then talked to the proponent and he was a little disappointed at how I treated him at the meeting, but I don't know really what he meant. But anyways, it was an idea that came out and it fired everyone up thinking that it's coming. This is really early stages and I think the next step is he would have to come and talk to Havelock-Belmont-Methuen to present it, explain to us what it's all about. I know in my telephone conversation with him, he explained a lot of things that if he had told people, it probably would have helped the situation. But we were kind of blindsided. I think that said that in one of the reports at that meeting with this presentation. So I think at this time, you know, if they want to come forward and reach out to us, we're always willing to listen. And I think that's the step they missed when they took this to county council. They might have been better to talk to HBM first to see what we even thought of it. So, and explain to educate us on it because he didn't do that. So looking for comments on that, Councillor Pomeroy, then Deputy Mayor Dro, and then Councillor Webb.
Yeah, it's too bad we can't have, you know, an open house that everyone could be invited and see, you know, the process that this is going through. It's pretty hard for you as a mayor and us as councillors to explain this in any depth at all because we have we do have an idea, but we rely on them 100%. The people that live close to this, they're the ones that are upset, and rightly so because it was it was blindsided. And you know, actually, they said I found out more in the Havelock Rail about it than what you guys told us. I said, yeah, well, I found out some things too. So it's one of those things where I know it's COVID-19, but you can't have an open house for these people to come out and put on a display. So anyway, we'll leave it.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Dro, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll keep my comments brief. I can't say I was in totally dark about this process. I did not know that Drain or that Dr. March and the other two gentlemen had discussions with Drain. I've tried to keep up with our waste situation for a long time. So, no, I did not have any inclination or any knowledge of those discussions being taken. But yes, I have got some emails in regards to this, and council did receive a letter. So it's only natural for people to not understand things and be wary of a process that's going to come into our community that we know nothing about. So I've did some homework myself. Dr. March did phone me. He was upset that for different reasons. And yes, if I agree with the mayor that if they would like to come in and do a presentation, I'd be all for it. I think the gist of it was at Peterborough County. The presentation was to get a letter of support because they have no status with the government, the way I remember it. And they were looking for support that they would get a grant to do a study to see if this was even possible. So I think other than I would invite anybody in our municipality or anywhere to go on a site called Govanta, COVANTA.com, where we are, virtual tour. And it's all laid out in the process. It's a very good presentation. You can either like it or not like it, but at least it gives you some information on how the process works. So again, I invite anybody, and I will give this to Bob, and if the township does get calls or emails over it, they'll have that information where to go on. Even if you go on Govanta itself, it'll bring you up. You can take a virtual tour of the site, and it walks you through the process. It's the new technology. I think I'm not saying it's the answer. What I'm saying is we have to explore options. Our options are out as far as I'm concerned. To keep them burying our garbage. We got to do something different. So go on the site, have a look. You can either have a positive or a negative thought over it. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't really, I just had my hand up there inadvertently, Jim, but while you asked me, the only problem I really have with it is the fact that our municipality hasn't been engaged in any of the talks, right? And so I understand, I guess, at higher levels of government, sometimes that happens, especially with big projects. However, sitting here on council of the municipality, I don't like it when decisions are being made without our input or even consideration of our input. So that's my major problem with it. The one thing I would caution people, it's an interesting idea. However, I think the rest of council will tell you, I think this is at least the second or third different proposal that's been put up for that, the drain property, and just in the 6 years I've been on council. So obviously the other two never bore out. So I'm not saying that this won't, but I'm just saying at the moment, these are rumors. So let's not, completely freak out here. We're still at the initial stages. And I think to Deputy Mayor Giroux's point makes a very good one. Try and educate yourself. Don't listen to what other people are saying. You go out and do the research, get on the computer, make a phone call, look into it for yourself. So make your own decision.
Thank you. And I think, yeah, good points from both. And that's what I said to Dr. March when he called me, is the process was totally wrong. He should have came and talked to us, talked to our municipality, educate, because even just in my short conversation with him, some of the points there, I had an email from one of the lakes close by, and they weren't actually against it. They just, they seem to be right up on this sort of thing. And they said that they, really look at this because it's a lot of the concerns are truck traffic and things like that. And talking to Dr. March, it would be up to 10 trucks a day. Clarington has 22 trucks a day. Like all those details, these trucks come in compacted. They're not allowed more than one truck on site. So that's why every hour they come into Clarington. Here it would be half the size. And so there would be 10 trucks a day or 11 possibly, you know, and there's quite a plan around it, whether this is the right thing for this area or why they wouldn't leave it. I asked them why they wouldn't leave it at Bensford, because the city's putting millions of dollars into a composting facility out there. Does it make sense having two different facilities? All those questions will come out. And I think, like you say, educate yourself on this, read some of the stuff like Dave did there. And, you know, we do have to do things differently. And I think everybody's, even this piece of correspondence we received here, you know, nobody's against the concept. We know we have to do something different, but there's a process to go through, and we all need to be educated on this to make anything like this happen, or pick the place where it's going to happen. So, okay, so, you know, I'll leave it at that. There's nothing else on there. If anybody else has anything else to speak to, the one thing was Doug Ford's speech from the Roma conference, and I'll speak to that later, but in my other in activity report. So anything else in here? If not, I'll take a motion to receive the balance of the correspondence. Moved by Councillor Webb and seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. So next we'll move into committee liaison reports. And so the first thing we have here is reports from, sorry, just trying to move this thing here. Okay, so some of the reports we have here, the first ones is Councillor Ellis's Cemetery Board minutes from October 10th, 2019. And then Cemetery Board minutes from June 11th, 2020, and Cemetery Board minutes from September 2020. Is there anything to add to those, Larry, or any?
No, through you, Mr. Mayor. They're just the minutes from the previous meetings have already been shared prior with council. So they're more just, I'm looking for, or I imagine staff is looking for a motion to receive those minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll look for a motion to receive the minutes from Cemetery Board. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy. Seconder, Deputy Mayor Giroux. Any comments or questions?
Nope.
All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next we have Deputy Mayor Giroux with his activity report there. Just looking for any minutes, or there's nothing there. Go ahead, Dave.
I'll point out just one small error in our activity report here. I did not under item number 6. I did not attend the Peterborough County Development meeting on January the 28th. And I think there was a little mix up. I think the mayor actually attended that Zoom meeting, and where was the other one? Oh, number 3 on the mayor, Peterborough County Awards and Bursaries Committee. That was my meeting. So I think those 2 meetings just got reversed. Small error.
Yeah, so I was going to bring that up, and yeah, I wasn't at the awards and bursaries, so that's fine. So motion to receive Deputy Mayor Giroux's update there, moved by Councillor Webb and seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. And yeah, the next one is I was at the Roma conference, and then lots of conference calls still happening every week. The Roma conference was, it's not listed on here. I should have got it in time, but I didn't make it. So it was different. It's not like going in person, but they tried to make it the same. Like, you know, you still get your coffee breaks and all that happening, and it takes the whole day. It was 2 days of seminars, and there was some good seminars, and The one good thing with it being recorded, we always struggle when we're at these things because there's two good ones on, so you don't know which one to go to. With this way, I went to one of them later that night just to kind of see what was happening on it. So it's kind of good that way, but you can't beat the talking in between meetings, and you know, that's really missed when it comes to a conference. But there was some good things. A lot of it's around broadband and connections. You know, everybody's working really hard on trying to get things better, especially the EORN, the Eastern Ontario Regional Network. In this area, they're working really hard to try and get this thing moving, and it's going in the right direction. There was a couple of seminars on cannabis, and that's going to be a hot topic here this year. And there was even some things around in the not the bull pit, but they had the big thing where all the ministers are there, and they were talking even with regards to building departments and the new technology, and how a lot of people feel it's more efficient and it's working better for building departments, and a lot are having troubles with it. But it does help when you're a seasonal population like we are. Everybody can take part in the process a lot easier. So, you know, whether it's here to stay, I don't know, but I think it's you know, it's a mixed bag out there when it comes to the new technology. But even things like plan review, that came up last week twice. It came up in our the one meeting there that Dave was talking about, and it came up at Roma that, you know, some people are doing plan review from outside of the office. They have a separate person that just does plan review, and they're not even in the township. They just that's all they do. And I can imagine John spends a lot of time on plan review, so you know, that might be a new thing that happens in other areas where you know, somebody's just doing plan reviews. So anyways, there was lots of good things on it. As far as everything else, you know, most of the things come out before the meeting's over. They're on Twitter and Facebook, you know, whether it's the Ford's speech or Steve Clark, or all of the leaders had their own spot to speak. And before I could report it to Bob or get it on, it was already online anyway. So that's the way things work nowadays. You guys knew about it almost the same time I did, and I was in person. So anyways, that's all I have. So if you want to receive that report, that would be good. Somebody want to move it? Moved by Councillor Ellis and seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? And that's carried. Now, Barry, I didn't see you on here, but did you have anything that you wanted to get in here, or is that?
Yeah, I have one item that Councillor Ellis brought up earlier in the year, and I would like to see a report on it. Was overtime for the year for everyone.
Okay. All right then, so we can get that brought forward then. Is there a seconder to that? Seconded by Councillor Ellis. All in favor of that motion? Okay, carried. So yeah, that can come forward. And yeah, I asked for a complete thing, even with mileage. I would like a more detailed version of mileage from everyone, especially council. I would like to have that as a new thing for this year. As every quarter, we would have a detailed report on mileage, just so we know where everything stands, and make sure we're going in the right direction. So that would be something that I don't know whether I need a motion for that, Bob, but I was talking to Brianna about trying to get something, a better report than just a thing at the end of the year. Larry, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Are we under new business now or activities?
No, that's we're going to move into that after this next thing. I just while Barry was making a motion in there for that, I just thought we can, while we're asking staff to do things, we can try and get both things on the next agenda. So
I'll wait till under new business then.
Okay. All right then. So we've got that motion in there anyways for the overtime thing, and that was for part of a committee liaison report. So the next we have the oral notice of motion. We don't have any written. So Barry, you wanted to make a motion here.
Yeah, I think Bob has it there.
Do you want to read it, Bob? Putting you on the spot.
Yes, you're putting me on the spot. Perhaps Councillor Pomeroy could repeat the motion.
Yeah.
Is this from earlier this meeting?
Yes. I think it was
With
concerning regards to the Lions Club agreement with the municipality, like the one that we have right now was 15th day of August, 1996. So I think we should maybe bring this up to date, and we got a few other little things with the Lions that aren't on paper. You know, it's just to say so. So I think we should get them all straightened up.
Okay.
And
All right.
would you like a copy, Bob, of the agreement?
We have it.
Do you have it?
Yes.
We
do
were all
have a
given
copy. Thank you.
That's why I thought we were dealing with this already. It's not due till August, but I thought staff was already dealing with this, Bob.
I don't know.
Yeah. Through you, Mayor Martin, this is on our list, and it will be dealt with this year.
So do we really need a motion for this then, Bob? Because it's already in the works.
We're happy to take the motion, so nobody forgets.
All right then. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy and seconder. Councillor Ellis, all in favor? And that's carried. So, all right. Is there anything else in oral notice of motion? Seeing none. New business. With new business here, there was a couple things coming up here, and the one thing I had to do was establish next business date, but I'll open it up to council here for new business. Larry, you had something?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks to Councillor Pomeroy for bringing the fact that we didn't get the report for overtime that was on my list from way back when we started doing budget. So thank you, Councillor Pomeroy. That's looked after. The new fire truck that we've ordered. It's been a long term since it was received. And I'd like I'm sure Chief Haynes is here if he could give us an update on that.
Okay. Ray, are you there? I was in talking to him last week about it. So can you update us here, Ray?
Maybe he's not here. Anyway, I was looking for an update on that because, like I say, it's been long term. I don't know where the truck is. And my other comment, and I'll bring this up when we get talking budget again, but I definitely think we should look at the equipment replacement schedule for that vehicle because it's almost a year since it was ordered. So it's obviously something we could look at for extending the life of the next new truck.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something. So talking to him last week, it's the radio, he was waiting to come in, and I think it was the wrong radio. It was these are programmed to work for our areas, and it was actually working for a local construction company and something else. It was he thought it was a plug and play, and when he put it in there, he was listening to construction companies and some other things. It wasn't picking up our thing. So he was working on that on Friday when I was in there, and I don't know if he got it switched out, but because the construction company was saying how long it's taken for them to get radios, and it turns out we might have got it. Go ahead, Larry.
Anyway, that was part of my request to get an update on that. And the other thing is the existing truck. Where does that go?
And we need to hear from, it was supposed to go to the Parks Department. I don't know, Bob, do you have anything on that? I don't know what's happened with Ray. Ray said he's having troubles in the last two meetings when he tries to connect again. So he may phone in here. So, because he said last time, so is he phoning in?
Well, maybe somebody else can answer the,
Yeah, Wendell, go ahead. I'm sure you.
Old pickup will be staying here for the new hire. And have to be looking at the equipment schedule for parks, as well as all did the asset management currently of the equipment rescheduling that needs to be updated for when we do the development charge study this year.
through you, Mr. Mayor, I don't know, deciding on keeping 2 trucks at the fire department?
No, and that's, I don't know if that's an internal thing. There was talk about how we're gonna get the deputy to do anything, so without a truck. So I don't know what the idea is here. So we're gonna have discussion on that, Larry. You know, as far as, I think all of the replacement schedule there, I've got 2 or 3 different ones. I think it all needs to be looked at. Like you say, with Parks and Rec there, and I know Peter said he thinks he's short a truck. So, you know, there's a lot of things going on here that we need to get that schedule up to date. It's like 2013, one of them was, and the other one was 2017. And a lot of changes have happened since then. So we need to get a handle on this and get a better plan in place. Deputy Mayor Giroux, go ahead, and then Councillor Pomeroy.
One last thing, and then I'll.
Okay.
Through public, we're still not the capacity for full-time operators through Public Works. If Peter's still with us, maybe Peter's still here. If he could give us an update there, because my understanding is we're still short a full-time employee there.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Councillor Ellis, could you repeat that? I just froze up there for a minute.
Are we still short one full-time employee in your Public Works staff?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, to Councillor Ellis. Yes, that is in the budget to acquire another full-time staff after the budget is passed. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Barry, go ahead.
Hey, what about me?
Okay, Dave, go ahead.
No.
These are at both sides of my screen, and I'm trying to look in the middle, and all I see is.
I'll bow down to the sea.
Oh, Dave, Barry, go ahead, and then Dave.
You got a birthday coming. We have to make a motion on getting this replacement schedule figured out, and who's authorizing, you know, a truck going there or a truck coming here that you know, council doesn't even know about it. So
Yeah.
anyway, I would like to see the replacement schedule brought up to date. And I've asked Gwendolyn, in fact, this morning, she was in early, so I talked to her about it and she said she would do that. But do we have to have a motion so that it's gets done rather than just say, well, we done that last year and we done it the year before and anyway,
Yeah.
let's keep moving.
Yeah, it's something that should have been done a long time ago. It's something that Wendell can get going, but we should have a motion on the floor with regards to that. So let's get that out of the way and then I'll go to Dave. The replacement schedule.
With a comment, please. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree. And for saying that is sort them out. I think the last one I got from Wendell, I thought was correct. It was all shit. It's totally different. So I'd like to see it on our next regular agenda. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder with regards to the schedule. So all in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Thank you. Dave, did you have anything else with regards to that, or is that? Okay, is there any other new business here? I've lost Councillor Webb here, so, oh, there, he's trying to get back on. So there he is. Okay, so new business. The one thing we do have to establish a next budget meeting, and I think that we can do it right now, but we can go through a lot of dates here. So and then we just in the system, it wasn't getting out on the social media, the notices for our budget meeting. So something went a little wrong there, but we corrected it, and we can notify on our website and social media the next budget meeting. Would that work, Bob?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, absolutely. We will, as soon as those dates are decided, we will put them through our social media feeds and on our website as well.
Okay. Well, one of the things that some of the municipalities do, and I'm not that techy, but my calendar would probably be good if I shared it to you, and then you could, and staff could pick a date from it, because it's just pretty full. So anyways, we'll work around that, and we'll come up with a date and get moving on this budget. I think there's some things that we're waiting for mid-February to hear from. So go ahead, Bob.
Sorry, also through you, Mayor Martin, just to let everyone know, the sirens are blaring and the truck has gone by, so our fire chief has been called out to a call.
Okay. All right, then. That's good. Thank you. So then, so the next thing we have on here, if that's it for new business, is bylaws. And we have one bylaw here, and that's to assume the lands over in Blairton there, I think it is. Is that right, Bob? Assume certain lands, it's bylaw 2021-003.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, that is correct, as per the staff report earlier in the meeting.
Okay, so a motion to pass that bylaw. Moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux and seconded by Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so next we have a confirming bylaw.
There's another one.
Oh, there's another one here. Yeah, sorry.
Go.
Doesn't show on my other. Okay, on the paper it's there. So the next bylaw is to authorize borrowing money to meet the current expenditures of the corporation, Havelock-Belmont-Methuen in the year 2021. So what's, Councillor Webb, you're moving that? Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. All right, next we have the confirming bylaw. Moved by Councillor Webb that we confirm the proceedings today, and seconded by Councillor Ellis. All in favor? And that's carried. And next we have adjournment. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy and seconded by somebody, Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. So we do have a closed session meeting. What time, Bob? It's 11 o'clock. Is the 1 o'clock work for you? Or you want it sooner? It's up to you. You're muted.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, we have a delegation scheduled for 1 o'clock, if that works for everyone. Otherwise, we can do it at any time council pleases.
Well, 1 o'clock, is that okay with council? Okay, Councillor Ellis? Okay, so 1 o'clock, we'll leave it at that, and we'll see you then.